Hi friends, are you looking for a unique dessert to make at your next brunch, special occasion, or holiday? We've got a great one today. It's called Kugal. It is a Jewish cultural dish, and it's made with a custard, egg noodles, and we have a crispy topping that I'm not going to give away that secret, but if you'd like to see what we got cooking, go ahead and keep watching. We've got the water heating up. It's almost ready to boil our noodles. So while we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and get our nice crunchy topping kind of prepped. I'm not going to put that on till later, but we might as well work on it while we're waiting for the water to boil, and then we got to cook the pasta. So my twist I'm doing, I decided, was these Frosted Flakes pumpkin spice flavor. So we'll see how that works. People do all kinds of different topping on this Kugal. Let's see it with graham cracker crumbs, with like a brown sugar and flour and butter. I'm gonna take 2 cups. So this is a half a cup measuring. And put 2 cups in there. You know, and I thought about putting regular corn flakes, but I think we just need the pumpkin. Giving it a taste, it's not overpowering. No, you know what? I'm gonna do 5 half cups. And maybe I'll put a little bit of regular. We are gonna add some cinnamon to that. We're gonna add some cinnamon and some butter, melted butter. That will be for our topping for the Kugal. The Kugal. I'm just gonna put a cup in there. And that should be a good amount. Now, one other thing I want to get doing before, because it's almost time for us to put our noodles in there, and that won't take long at all. I want to take some of these golden raisins and I want to plump them up. So I'm going to put some boiling water on those. Oops. I'll probably do a cup of those. And that's really boiling now. So I just boiled up some water in my tea kettle. Let me get that. And we'll just cover those. And while we're waiting for the pasta to cook and mixing up the custard, it'll be nice and ready. So. All right, let's set this aside. So our pasta water, we are gonna salt that just a little bit. And normally if I wasn't doing a video, I'd put a couple pinches. I would have the fan on, but it's kind of loud when I'm recording. Now on your egg noodles, you'll want the extra wide for this. Probably going to take about 8 minutes for this to. I think I've got like 12 cups of water in there. They're nice and covered, so let's let that cook away. And let's get our cornflakes crushed. We're going to melt some butter also to make a little mixture for the topping for the Kugal. But we're not going to put that on right away because we want it to bake a little. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep this today. It's night, so it's evening. So this can sit overnight in the oven, or overnight in the refrigerator. Don't put it overnight in the oven. I might decide to do a little bit more. We'll see. I didn't totally pulverize it. We got some pieces in there. But yeah, you can put this in the fridge overnight. I decided because I'm serving this tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock. So I definitely want it warm. So I'm going to prep it all tonight and leave it in the fridge. I'll take it out for half an hour or so, let it sit on the counter, and then put it in a preheated oven. Probably around 30 minutes-ish. Take the foil off and then put the topping on. So we've got, and I forgot to put my timer on. Let me do that. Let's see. Let's do 6 minutes and check this out because I was chatting a little bit. So I'm trying to think if I've ever had this dish. I don't think I have. So this is a new recipe. I researched a lot of recipes and I thought, you know what? I think this is going to taste good. I got some ideas from some people and then I'm coming up with a few of my own. So we'll see if it works out in the end. I think it will. So I have my custard ingredients sitting out at room temperature for 20 minutes or so. And we're going to go ahead and mix up some of that. So I'm going to use 5 large eggs. And I already started some off camera. Let's just put them in here. I've seen as little as some recipes with 3 eggs and as much as 6. So I decided to go with 5 because I like it nice and eggy and custardy. I love my custard that way. So, but I'm going to try it a little bit different. Let's see if this works out. I decided not to use my blender, but I'm going to use my Vitamix. Because you know what? I wanted this Vitamix for years and years. And sometimes I forget it. I have it sitting over on my coffee bar. And sometimes I forget to use it. So it's like, let's try it for this. So I think I'm going to take this and just lightly, it's like I'm trying to think if I should put the lightest stuff or then the heavier. I forget when I make ice cream. I haven't made homemade ice cream in a while. So I'm on a touch of using this. So let's see. Let me go get some more of my ingredients I'm going to need. I've got some sugar. I've got some salt. I've got some vanilla. And I've got some cinnamon set aside. But we definitely need a spatula to... All right. Let's go ahead and put these eggs in. This will not take very long to mix these. It's going to be very noisy. That's not too bad, right? Because eggs. So that was just a few seconds. My hands are sticky from the eggs. I'm going to wash them. So yeah, I had this in my mind that I wanted to do this for our refreshments at church because I was like, I had bought this big container of biscotti. I have to pull that out before I close. I'll pull that out. And I just thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to do like all coffee? You know, I think of having biscotti, having a nice big cup of coffee or tea. And then I just started to, I'm like, okay, it's Rosh Hashanah. I want to come up with some other theme ideas. So I thought, well, this will taste good with coffee. And I got some other light wafer type of cookies. And I want to make a maple cinnamon whipped cream. So I thought this is definitely like a mixture of fall and just a fun little brunch over coffee idea. All right, so on this, we are going to use one, this is 16, oh, this is a small curd cottage cheese. I gotta put my glasses, oh, here they are. All right, yeah. This is 1 pound container of small curd cottage cheese. And I kind of went back and forth on this because most people do use cottage cheese on here, but there's a couple of people that just use heavy cream in the eggs. And the sour cream, we're going to use 8 ounces of sour cream. But I was like, you know, I want the traditional. It's being my first time making it, I thought I want it somewhat traditional. So we've got 35 seconds left on that pasta. I'm going to get the colander before we go any further, so we want to have that ready to drain. These egg noodles don't really take very long at all to cook up. I think they need about another minute though to tell you. So I'm going to do 1 more minute. All right. All right, so we're going to take about 1 cup of half and half, and probably should have had that out before sitting out, but that's the only thing that's really cold. So the other things have been sitting out, and I'm not going to even use a whole cup. I've got about almost 3/4 of a cup here. Now we have a whole brick of cream cheese, and we're going to cut those into smaller pieces. And I see most people that make this, they just whip it all up together. Now I hope this is not going to be too much. That's the only thing about the Vitamix. The bowl, if you do it in the mixing bowl, you got more space. So I don't want this to overflow. We'll see if this was a mistake or not. But it's getting late and I wanted to get this put together. All right, time to check that pasta. Let's see if this pasta is done. You definitely want it a tiny bit al dente, but not too much, and you don't want it too mushy. That's perfect. So we'll go ahead and get this drained. So I've got the pasta good and drained. Let's see if we can go easy with this mixture. And we're going to add some sugar to it too. I'm going to whip it up a little bit before I add the sugar. And I need some paper towels. I got some schmutz on here, sour cream and cream cheese. There we go. Then we'll slowly turn it up so we don't. And let me get my spatula. So I think if I don't go crazy, with this and put it on full blast, I'll be okay. So it looks nice and creamy. I might not really need much of that half and half. All right, let's lift that lid up. Let's give it a stir. Oops, we don't need that lid, do we? Oh, it looks nice and creamy. So I think this made this very creamy. So we're not going to even see any bits of the cottage cheese in there. But let's go ahead and add some of the sugar, blend that, and we'll add our vanilla and our cinnamon. And we'll use about 3/4 a cup of sugar. 1, 2. This is a very sweet dish. I've got 3/4 a cup. And let's put a teaspoon of salt. And let's use, we've got a couple teaspoons of cinnamon. And we have, I'm going to mix that and then add the vanilla extract. I'm going to try something a little extra to it also. Definitely want that sugar all dissolved in. It looks pretty good. Now I use sugar in the raw, which takes a little bit more to dissolve to it, but let's move this out of the way. I don't feel like I'm going to need that heavy cream. Wash my hands again. All right, so now we're going to put 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean paste. You can use vanilla extract. But I bought this and I like it a lot. And I'm going to also add a little bit of anise. And let's see if I can find where I put that. Oh, here it is. And this is something I don't see on any of the other recipes, but I just wanted to give it a try. If I can get the bottle open. So give me a moment. Had to get the hubby to open that one. I was on there tight. All right, so let's take 1 teaspoon of that, because that's a pretty strong flavor, but all right, let's get this whipped up a little bit. So you just want to be sure to make sure all that cream cheese is blended well. I think this is working out great. I think I am going to use a little bit of this half and half. I think I'm going to use like a half a cup. I want it nice and creamy. And, oh, I almost forgot. We have 1/3 a cup of melted butter. We got to put that in there. This is a very rich dessert. And I would say it's very unique. Oops. Pretty much have this on like 4.5. And there we go. That is nice. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way. And we'll get our pan ready and we'll start to put all our ingredients together in the pan. Give me a moment. I'm going to clean it up a little bit here and wash my hands. We are ready to drain these raisins. So, I have my little bowl. I need my colander to drain that out. And I'll let that drain a little here. All in all, I think this is a very, very easy recipe. So I took a baking dish and I greased it with butter. That's so all the noodles don't stick. So let's go ahead and put our, steaming up the glasses. Let's go ahead and put our noodles in there. And I like to, I hate when my pasta all sticks together. So try to do this pretty quick. Now we don't want to curdle that cream. So let's let it sit here for a moment. And we'll come back and pour that. Because that's still pretty piping hot. I didn't think about that part. I had to think it through. And this is going to swell up from the custard. But I'm just trying to separate it so I don't have it all clumpy together. All right. I'll just clean up a little bit more, do some dishes while I wait about 5 minutes. Washed up most of the dishes, and this is cooled down good enough. Now, one of the twists I'm going to use, and I've seen some people use like apricot jam or some apples, but we're going to use this very nice apricot preserves, and we're going to put that on top here. And I think I'm just going to put it on where it's still warm. Sure didn't turn my mic off. And let's get a spoon to get that out. I knew when I was researching this dessert, I was like, I knew I wanted to use this apricot. Well, I probably could have put this in here right when it was still pretty warm. It's pretty thick. And I am going to be putting this in the fridge, so I don't know. Stir it around a little bit. Hopefully the warmth of the noodles will melt it a little bit. It's definitely going to melt when we go to bake it, but I'm going to cut it. Use my fingers, sticky, but I'm just going to make this smaller. This is pretty thick preserves. But when like I said, I was researching it and I was like, oh man, that would taste so good. Not everybody puts the apricot in there. I said people do it different ways, but some of the time people do. So I can just imagine that tasting fabulous. So I'm going to take this Vitamix and just give that a little extra mix because we've had it sitting here for a few minutes. And we could whisk this all by hand in a bowl, but we've got this modern convenience. We might as well use it, right? All right. I just slide this down a little bit. And where is my spatula? Let's get everything all ready. Now this looks and smells yummy, but don't taste it because you got that raw egg in there. Let's just pour this over our mixture. And I might get another shot for you, so hold on. There you go. You get a good shot of me pouring that over the noodles. And really all my ingredients are nice and blended. Let's give that a little bit of a stir. It almost looks like Alfredo, doesn't it? But it's not. This is a sweet treat. Now, some people with this, some people put raisins, some don't. Some use regular raisins, some use golden raisins. You could use dried apricots cut up. I even had some currants in the pantry, and I almost dried currants. I almost thought about that, but I decided just to go with the golden raisins. I thought this looks very autumn-ish. And with our topping that we're going to use, our pumpkin spice cornflakes. And I'm going to add a little bit more pumpkin spice seasoning when we get to that part. And we won't put that on until after we bake this for about 35 minutes. We'll take the aluminum foil off, and then we'll put the topping on. Some people put it on right from the beginning. Put their topping on. Some don't. So I'm going through my mind with a mental checklist. Got the apricot preserves. Got the cream. You know what? I'm going to just put a little bit of this half and half. There's just a little left in there. I'm just going to pour that. We put sugar in here. We put the eggs. Put the cream cheese. We put the sour cream. The cottage cheese. This is all going to soak up a little bit overnight. So this is 2 dessert pieces within, or dessert pastas. You can tell it's getting late. I'm tired. We're celebrating my grandson's birthday today, so we're out a little bit late. Not too late, but all right. Sealed. I'm gonna get it in the fridge, and we'll be back in the morning for baking. Time to clean up. It is early the next morning, and I've had this sitting out for about 45 minutes. It is still pretty thick and set, but I have my oven preheated for a good 20 minutes at 350. So I'm going to cover this up with foil, bake this for about 30 minutes. And while that's baking, I'll go ahead and prep my crumb topping with the cornflakes. And let's get this in the oven. We want this probably is going to cook close to an hour. So let's set our timer. And I'll tell you, I did wrestle a little bit last night. I was like, had it in my mind set that I was going to bake it some and then put the coating on, the topping. And I was re-looking at several other recipes, and I was like, Some people put it on at the beginning and it seems to be fine, but I was like, this is my first time making it. I don't want to chance it. So remember, let's get that started. I'm going to get some of my things together for our crumb topping. For our topping for the Kugal, I've taken about a half a stick of unsalted butter and I melted that in my microwave. And the bowl's still pretty hot. So I'm just going to melt that little pat that's left in there. And I added about 1 more cup of our pumpkin spice cornflakes. So we've got, I think, a total of 3 cups in here. And it's a ratio of 2 of the pumpkin spice and then the regular cornflakes. And I'm going to add a little bit of pumpkin spice. I have some pre-made packets that I made, and we're going to use some of that. We might add a little more extra cinnamon too. So the pumpkin spice has your typical pumpkin pie type of seasoning, and I thought that will just give it a little extra kick. So let's go ahead and we're going to add some brown sugar to this. Let's see, did I get my measuring spoon out? I did. Good girl. Very early in the morning. It's like Sunday's usually my day I could sleep in, but not today. 1, 2. Let's do 3. Let's do 4 tablespoons of that. And let's take a fork and toss that. Like I said, we've got a good 20 minutes to go before we add this. I might need a little more butter, but I didn't want to, I wanted to test this out before I add too much. You want it to hold together a little bit. Yeah, I feel like that needs just a little bit of butter because that is a lot of cornflakes. And I put the brown sugar in there, but let's put the pumpkin pie spice. So I hope this is going to be a good twist to this dish. Let's use a whopping tablespoon. I don't know that we really need cinnamon. This smells pretty fragrant. Let's take a little taste. That's yummy. It's sweet though. That's really good. And we're adding that extra butter. 1, 2. Yeah, I feel like that's enough. And I am going to put I decided just put a little sprinkle of cinnamon in there. Probably like 1/4 of a teaspoon. So now we just have to wait for the timer to go off, and we'll put this topping on. We'll leave that uncovered and let this get crunchy and let the rest of the Kugal bake. And most recommendations I see that say let it cool for about an hour before serving. So we're all in that time frame. I'm going to clean up a little bit and get our stuff ready to make our maple whipped cream. Now we're going to make our maple whipped cream. Got 1 container of heavy whipping cream. It's about 16 ounces. And I chilled this bowl for about 20 minutes in the beater before I chilled it right in the refrigerator. Excuse me, I need a little drink. I haven't had my morning coffee yet. I got a little frog in my throat. But we're going to whip this up, and we're just adding a few simple ingredients. Pure maple syrup and a little bit of cinnamon. This is like a maple cinnamon. Oh, helps if I take the little lid off. There we go. And let's get that. We'll get that whip in. Cut it on medium high. And what we want is soft peaks. See, do I have another tablespoon in here? No, I got a half a tablespoon. So we're gonna like slowly incorporate some of this maple syrup. So like I said, we want this on medium high. Whew. And we're probably gonna put 3 tablespoons of maple syrup. And we might have to adjust it a little. Let's put a little sprinkle of our cinnamon. Start out with about a half a teaspoon. Now we can turn this up higher. Let's turn it off and just see where we're at. Oh yeah, it's still pretty thin. You want your whipped cream really starting out very cold, so you don't want to take that out of the fridge. It's not like the casserole that we made, that Kugal. We had our filling ingredients, our custard ingredients sitting out to get closer to room temperature. This is thickening up. Let's take a look. It's almost there. This is what we want is soft peaks. You know, I'm going to give a little taste. And we do need a little bit more maple syrup. And we need a little more cinnamon. I put another tablespoon in. And just a sprinkle of cinnamon. I like these little containers here to store stuff like frosting and whipped cream. It's just the right size, and they're a nice size for transporting. So if you're doing a special little get-together, a party, maybe you were doing it at someone else's house, you could pre-make stuff ahead of time and transport it. Now, whipped cream, you want to keep that in a cold bag. And if you have a long travel, obviously you would make it when you get to your destination, because you want to keep it good and cold. Unless you have a cooler, then it would transport okay. I got a little left. Boy, I wish I had some waffles or something that would make a nice little... This would be a great whipped cream for pumpkin spice waffles or pumpkin spice pancakes. Well, let me find my other lid. I have it right full to the top. Let's see, can I get the lid on without... Yeah, we're all right. We're all right. let's get those right in the fridge. There's the timer. Let's get that Kugal out. Push this aside for now. It's going to be such a nice little refreshment today at church. Like I said, this is perfect for a brunch or just that little get together with girlfriends. Just something special for fall. All right. My heating pad. Put that on here. It's going to be pretty hot. Where did I put my pot holders? Oh, here they are. All right. And remember, I put this pan just in case we had some spillover. And just very carefully lift your, I always take it away from me. Yeah, I can tell this definitely needs a good, this might need a good 35-40 minutes still. So let's go ahead and, I don't think it's gonna bubble over. I was really nervous about that. So let's take our topping. Let's see, do I have a spoon? And we're gonna just sprinkle that on the top. Oh, it smells fabulous. When I was just rechecking last night, I was checking out a lot of videos on YouTube on how different people make it. And there are so many variations. I saw somebody did a mixture of apricot jam and some blueberry jam. They like did little patches of blueberry, little patches of apricot. That looked really pretty too. So there's like a lot of variations you can do. So once you make the dish once or twice, you can start to play around with it. So this is nice and coated. There was something I was going to say about the topping. Oh, there was a savory. There was a lot of savory kugels too. You could do this which is like kind of almost macaroni and cheese. I saw somebody actually do a sweet and cheesy. I was like, I don't know how that would fly, but we could try it. Because, we have apple pie and we'll have maybe a slice of cheddar with apple pie, right? So it's not unthought of. So here we've got this nice, and we're going to put this back in the oven. I'm going to take it off the pan. I'm going to be brave and hope it doesn't spill over. And let's set that right in the middle. And we'll put our timer on for 35 minutes. And we will be back. While the kugel is baking, I'm going to sit down and have a cup of coffee. I've been up for over an hour and I need my coffee. So I wanted to show you the one cookie I'm using. It's called Kugal, and I'm sure you've had them. They're like a wafer type of like a waffle cone, almost maybe not as crispy. They got excuse me, pretty little design on them. They're just light and airy, or light and crispy. So I thought that would taste really nice with this maple cinnamon whipped cream. You know, and we could just spread it. I could put some pretty fall sprinkles if I feel like digging them out. I don't know. We'll see. But so we'll put some on a wick. Oh, and they're very delicate, so you got to be very careful. As you see, I just broke that. So let's give it a try. Mmm. Mmm. That maple is nice. It's not overpowering, but you definitely can taste it. Mmm. The sprinkles would make it a little more festive. But I am trying to keep it simple, so let's see what I end up with. I would just definitely spread these out, 10 minutes before serving. Just soften up the cookie a little bit. So I'm going to sit down and I'll be back when this kugel is done baking. So the kugel is ready to come out of the oven. I kept it in here for about 35 more minutes. And it smells incredible in here. So it looks pretty good. It's like hard to totally tell. It's like, let me put a knife through that. I just want to make sure it's all cooked through. You know what? I feel like it needs just a few more minutes. Let's put it in there. While we got the kugel finishing up, I'm going to go ahead and get my apple slices. I wanted to wait till shortly before we had to leave to do that because the slices are going to brown up a little bit, but we have lemon juice to help that. I'm just taking my apple core. Let me come a little closer actually. And this is going to make the process pretty quick, this apple core. And probably should peel those first actually. No, I'm going to leave the peels on. That's right. I forgot about that. What am I thinking? I'm not making apple pie. And this is a great treat to have on Rosh Hashanah and around that time. This is a great fall treat. You can have caramel sauce. You can just eat them plain. Well, I'm going to serve it with a little bit of honey. That's true Rosh Hashanah form. You can make a peanut butter honey drizzle also, right? All right, so let's go ahead and slice these up. I set my bowl over here for now. We'll check that kugel in about a minute. So one thing I would definitely recommend, if you make it the night before, and this is what I ran into, even though I had it out for over half an hour, it's still pretty cold. So it's going to be a longer baking time if you choose to let it sit overnight. If you're going to make it fresh, it's probably only going to take you between 50 minutes to an hour. So just keep that in mind if you're trying out this recipe. And I just want these in nice little slices to arrange on a plate pretty. But I'm going to just put them in this bowl for now. And this is ready to go off. So I'm going to take a look. A peek. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. Oh, smells so great in here. It definitely smells like fall. Don't you love the fall season? You get all these little fun comfort foods. And it's bubbling pretty much from everywhere, so. And it's nice and toasted on there, so it looks good. It's not burnt. So I'm going to turn my oven off. We are going to let this cool. We're not going to cut into it for at least an hour. And we'll give it a try. But let's go on to cutting our apples and getting that ready. And then I'll show you my biscotti that I bought. Really, that was the whole theme of this whole little menu I put together for refreshments. And definitely if I was going to have a brunch, I would do this. This makes even a nice dessert on a fall, you're having a fall holiday, fall birthday. It's a nice little treat you can make. And I found out today, I was taking a break, having my coffee this morning, watching the news, and they were saying today is National Noodle Day. So I'm like, I did not know that. And so I'm right on trend here with making this egg noodle coodle. I was like, hey, am I saying that noodle Kugal? Anyway. Sometimes when you use that core, if you're not set on right in the center, you miss a little bit, so you just gotta use your paring knife. These are Macintosh apples. So I live in Washington State, and we're known for apples. But we have different varieties from the Northeast, where I grew up most of my life. And these are really popular in the Northeast. And when my local grocery store gets these Macs in, I just buy quite a bit of them because they make great applesauce. They're great to add to pies. I usually use a variety of apples on my pies. But these are a great eating apple, Macintosh. Let me get a close-up of that in a moment. But if you can see, it's a nice white. It's a medium texture. It's probably on a more of a softer texture, but it's sweet and tart at the same time. Great eating apple. Let's squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on these. Definitely wouldn't want to do this the night before because you want your apples to be nice. And use about half of that. Let's get it stirred. Toss it in there. I'm going to finish that up. And we'll wrap this up in a little bit. All right, we are all ready to wrap this up. I mean, literally, I got to wrap this up and bring it to church. But I thought I would share with you my big container biscotti. So I've got this huge container of almond biscotti, and that's what really started this theme. I was like, I saw that, and I'm like, oh, that would be great for our morning refreshments, for a brunch. Have a nice steamy hot cup of coffee or tea and dunk those crunchy biscotti in there. So it all started out with a simple little cookie, And I decided to do this Kugal with a twist with the pumpkin spice cornflakes. And we've got some sliced apples with honey, some grapes, and we've got the pizzelles with a maple cinnamon cream for that. So this should be a great morning uh, brunch. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or leave a comment below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, today is a great day. You'll get to catch all my fall videos. We're going to start to get ready for Thanksgiving. So we'll have a lot of side dishes, some appetizers and desserts that you might want to try on your next Thanksgiving holiday, which is only weeks away. So let's get ready, folks. So we'll see you next time. God bless. Have a great day.